there's various things that we're going to cover tonight, or that we're interested in covering. Obviously, some of the dynamics involved in making a video, how you can do that at a relatively low price as well, or at zero price. How you can use it to promote your music and your band, and obviously something that's of great importance, how you can actually make money from it as well. So you've got a fairly diverse panel from collection societies that can help you get money, and to the Musicians Union that can help you chase the money, and obviously two people that prove themselves very adept at making videos and getting them used.
I'm from VPL, which is a collection society. You might know PPL, which is the more famous collection society on the sound recording side. VPL, obviously, V standing for video, collects revenues for use of music videos. So very broadly, there's a little bit of kind of potted history of how we've got to where we are today. I won't go over it in detail, but originally music videos were promos given free to broadcasters in order to promote bands and push record sales. Pretty much with the advent of MTV, that changed the landscape. It changed music videos from being promotional tools to being copyright works in their own right. So they were products which MTV could use to plug their schedules, to sell advertising around, as well as an opportunity for bands to get some kind of airtime and some visual kind of representation. Hi, I'm Arman. I'm from VPL down in London, and we collect royalties for music videos which are used in TV shows and on music television channels.
And how did you end up here?
I'm a lawyer by training, so I qualified as a media lawyer quite a few years back. Worked in TV initially as a lawyer and then as a commercial negotiator, and then I moved away from TV into VPL and PPL, so we look after both music videos and sound recordings.
And what were you expecting? Did you know what you were letting yourself in for before you came to Born to Be Wide?
No, not quite. I think it was a great event, really interesting questions, I think interesting issues. And I think it's always useful for us to meet our members and our potential members and our registered members in order to get across the message that, we're here for them. We're here to collect royalties on their behalf. They register the video. If the video is used by one of our licensees, we will collect money on their behalf. Very simple message, but I think it's always good to get that across in person where and when we can.
So, see, when you've got these different channels, I mean, what kind of money are you talking about to get? So, how many times would you have to get a clip played on the box to get, say, 100 quid?
In theory, if your video is played once, you will get a share of revenue. But, because we're entirely dependent on the broadcasters' advertising revs, what that would be for one play of one video is pennies. So, you would need to get your video pretty well plugged on one of those channels to get, a couple of grand in. You'd need to be... we get stats through, and I think it's fair to say that the usual suspects take out or get most of the money. But I think that's inevitable, and I think that's it's common sense that that's always going to be the way. You need to be a big artist in order to get a lot of revenues out of these guys. There's no hard and fast rule about what the minimum will be. But if your video is played, then by all means you should be entitled and you should be expecting a check through the post. But don't expect a lot.
I'll come back to this in a wee bit, but I think the first probably would be interested to sort of get Scott's perspective on how, someone running a label ends up making videos and, doing it quite successfully as well, insofar as, you getting them played. I mean, what led you to making videos, Scott?
Well, when I started doing the label about 12 years ago, I never even thought about videos. It was kind of the point of me doing the label was to physically make product. And it was MTV in Brazil just phoned me up one day and said, "Hey, we love David Jack. we want a video. And I was like, a video? What the hell? How am I going to do that? So I went and spoke to David. He said, well, he'd been touring a lot of the time, so he had a lot of home footage of planes taking off in Iceland and Brazil and America and all over, which looked quite, quite fancy. So we just cut that together ourselves. I made a video, and then I took it to a local TV place that would produce a beta tape, a TV tape, and then just sent it to Brazil, and they used it. And that was the whole experience of starting out to do video.
All right. Hi, my name is Scott McDonald from KFM Records, and I was here tonight to talk a little bit about music videos, about making music videos for not a lot of money, and then what to do with them. Try and get them on the telly, get them on MTV. It can be done. It's a bit easier than getting tunes on the radio, so I think it's something that bands should think about doing, and put it in their arsenal for when they're doing promotion and trying to get heard and noticed in the world.
But it is a case of being invented. Necessity is the mother of invention. If you're putting out records and people are start asking you about things like that, or it's I mean to the point of because a lot of the stuff is instrumental hip hop stuff. I've done a lot of sync stuff for different companies. A lot of say in America, a lot of skateboard and BMX companies and that, which is like, again, old connections. I've used the music, and then in return they've let me use the videos, and then I've maybe re-edited them, taken the branding out, and then I've had those videos playlisted on Flux, MTV2, all these different channels, and you get a decent bit of money back when you get to that sort of level. If you can get an MTV and it's syndicated throughout Europe, it adds up,
So, I mean, how many plays would you be talking about?
Oh, that would be hundreds, because, you say you get plays on Flux. I mean, it might be like 4 or 5 plays a day for a few weeks, but then that is playlisted through 20 different countries in Europe. I mean, you would know more exactly than I do, but you get the report, and it is hundreds of plays, which adds up to £4,000 or £5,000. But because it's been shown all over the place,
Me and Ali, who I do this with, were on student radio back in Stirling. It was like 3-4 years ago, and we did a show where we had new sort of Scottish bands come in every week, and we got lucky with who we managed to get in and stuff like that. And we just do a 2-hour show, and a band would come in and do a wee session. And I don't know, maybe like 100 odd folk would listen to the radio show. But what we'd also do is just film it on a crappy wee camcorder and film the 3 songs that they did. And from that, we managed to get bands like Frightened Rabbit, The Excerpts, and I think at the moment there's an absolutely horrendously, like, the quality is dire, but it's the first ever recording of a Twin Atlantic song that's on the new album, and at the moment it's got something like 100,000 hits. And that was what made us realise that, video was a massive promotion tool for the sort of grassroots unsigned bands. So basically we left uni and we started off trying to work out how on earth we'd continue doing our radio show. We thought a podcast was the best way to do it. We met Ben, who's up there filming this whole thing, and started filming the things that we did for our podcast. One of those things was called a kidnap, where we genuinely just turned up on a band's doorstep and bunged them in a van, took them and made them play somewhere completely random, recorded it live sound, and thankfully Ben and the other guys that could use a camera and edit were amazing, and the final product was just brilliant. So for like the last year and a half, that's what we've been doing, building on the sort of the video side of things, really, as well as the live gigs.
And I mean, in terms of the technical aspects of it, I mean, if someone else wanted to just film themselves playing in some exotic location, I mean, what should they sort of keep in mind? I mean, is it easy enough with a generator just to plug your guitar and your amp in, or?
Yeah, I mean, I can see Ben's face right now. He's just like, it's not easy in any way. But I mean, I suppose the live sound bit of it is a whole different aspect. That was a right kerfuffle. But if you can have a generator set up somewhere that's going to be dry, in terms of filming it, it's down to the guys with the cameras. We don't have massively expensive camera equipment. Ben just uses Final Cut. He's good at it, but he's not like a professional yet. Yeah, we just started off as, guys who were just trying to do something a bit that we thought was pretty exciting. We didn't have any knowledge of it.
Jen, have you got any advice in terms of in terms of registering things and things to look out for if you are self-released or you've had a lot of input into your own video?
I think really the main thing to point out is doing things informally at this sort of level can be a problem, because that kind of thing can happen where, you know, your friends make a video for you and it's all fine, but then actually there's nothing in writing, and then it turns out actually that video gets used for a lot of stuff, but there's not been any agreement in terms of if there's going to be a royalty, you know, artistic royalty for that producer who made it or anything like that. So that's why I've put in the handout the pre-recording agreement, because it also covers audio visual. So that means that if someone is making you a music video, you can get them to sign that, which basically just says, it doesn't say we're going to get to keep the copyright of everything and you get nothing. It basically says this can't be used commercially until we come to an agreement about how that's going to be used. You know, and that just means that at least there's something there to say that you're going to have to come up with something in writing at some point, instead of just having nothing in writing, which can cause problems, I suppose. And also the other wee thing is just that there are a lot of people who will maybe think that they're doing you favours in situations like this, and they also think that they know the business and they don't mean any harm. So a lot of time kind of nightmare legal scenarios can come out of nobody really meaning to do any harm, but a lot of the time harm's done because people kind of thought they knew what was the right thing to do, but actually they didn't, and things are already registered and then they have to get re-registered, and that can be a real admin nightmare and a big legal nightmare as well. So even if someone's really nice and you trust them and stuff like that, if part of you says, I should probably have something written down, it's probably because you should. So just, you know, let the union know if you do need something in writing and we can help you sort it out. Okay?
What kind of thing? Do you guys do anything in writing?
No.